Imagine this. It is Christmas Eve. The year is 1914. Europe is burning. Millions of men are trying to kill each other in muddy trenches. Then, in the middle of the deadliest war the world has ever seen, something unbelievable happened. The guns fall silent. Enemies climb out of their trenches. They shake hands. They sing Christmas songs together. Some even play football. Today, we are going to uncover what the Christmas Truce of 1914 really was, how it happened, and why something like it never happened again. The world believed the war would be short, but reality arrived fast. When World War I began in the summer of 1914, most people believed the fighting would end quickly. Politicians, generals, and newspapers confidently told soldiers they would be home by Christmas. Young men marched to war thinking it would be an adventure. They were wrong. By December 1914, the war had turned into a nightmare. The Western Front stretched for hundreds of miles from the North Sea to the Swiss border. Soldiers on both sides lived in narrow trenches filled with freezing water and thick mud. Rats fed on corpses. Disease spread easily. Shells exploded day and night. In many places, British and German soldiers were separated by no more than 30 to 50 meters. They were close enough to hear each other talk. The war was stuck. Neither side could move forward. Thousands died for just a few yards of land. And as Christmas approached, many soldiers began to wonder how the world could celebrate peace while they were ordered to keep killing. Trench warfare created a strange reality. Soldiers could hear the enemy coughing, singing, or arguing. They saw the same mud, the same rain, and the same fear in the men across from them. Over time, a quiet understanding developed in some sectors. This became known as live and let live. Soldiers sometimes avoided firing unless absolutely necessary, not because they were cowards, but because they recognized the enemy was suffering just like them. Christmas made these feelings stronger. Packages arrived from home. Letters from parents and children reminded soldiers of warm family and safety. German troops even received Christmas trees sent by their emperor to boost morale. Candles were lit. Decorations were placed on trench edges. And then, something unexpected began to happen. On the night of December 24, 1914, German soldiers began singing Christmas carols. One song stood out above the rest. It was Still Nacht, known in English as Silent Night. The melody floated across the dark battlefield into British line. British soldiers listened in silence. When the Germans finished, something extraordinary happened. Instead of gunfire, applause echoed from the British trenches. Then the British began singing their own carols. Soon, both sides were singing together in different languages but with the same tune. The battlefield that had been filled with screams and explosions was suddenly filled with music. As Christmas morning arrived, German soldiers began climbing out of their trenches with their hands raised. They carried no weapon. British soldiers were cautious at first. This could have been a trap. But when it became clear the Germans were unarmed, British soldiers climbed out too. They met in no man's land, a place usually filled with death. They shook hands. They wished each other Merry Christmas. Corporal John Ferguson of the British Army later wrote that they laughed and chatted with men they had tried to kill only hours earlier. Soldiers exchanged gifts. Cigarettes, chocolate, buttons, food, and even addresses were shared. Some helped bury the dead together, finally giving fallen soldiers proper graves. For a brief moment, the war felt like it had disappeared. One of the most famous stories of the Christmas Truce is the football match. Did it really happen? The answer is yes, but not the way movies often show it. There was no official match, no referee, no uniform. The ground was too broken for that. But there were informal kickabouts. Soldiers kicked a ball, a tin can, or anything they could find. In at least one account, German soldiers claimed they beat the British 3-2. It was not about winning. It was about feeling human again. It is important to understand that the Christmas truce did not happen across the entire front. In some areas, fighting continued. In French sectors, where German troops occupied large parts of the country, bitterness was stronger. On the Eastern Front, Russian soldiers followed a different calendar, so Christmas came later. Even where truces happened, not every soldier approved. Some had just lost friends and could not forgive the enemy. There were also tragic moments when soldiers were shot while attempting to join a truce that was not recognized by the other side. Still, historians estimate that over 100,000 soldiers took part in some form of ceasefire during Christmas 1914. That scale makes the event truly extraordinary. To generals and politicians, the Christmas truce was dangerous. Armies depend on discipline, obedience, and the belief that the enemy is evil. When soldiers start seeing the enemy as human, wars become harder to fight. High command on both sides feared that these moments of friendship could destroy morale and weaken the will to fight. Orders were quickly issued banning any future fraternization. Officers were told to keep soldiers busy during holidays. Artillery bombardments were planned specifically to prevent silence. One young German corporal strongly criticized the truce. His name was Adolf Hitler. He believed such behavior was dishonorable. His reaction showed how differently leaders and soldiers viewed the war. After 1914, the war became far more brutal. Poison gas was introduced. Tanks rolled across battlefields. Airplanes bombed cities. Submarines sank civilian ships. The sinking of the Lusitania in 1915 killed nearly 1,200 civilians and hardened public opinion. The innocence of early war disappeared. By the time Christmas arrived in 1915, there was no singing, no handshakes, only gunfire. The Christmas Truce of 1914 could only happen in a brief window when soldiers were still close to civilian life and had not yet been completely consumed by hatred. Soldiers wrote letters home describing what they had experienced. Some had cameras and took photographs. Newspapers published the stories, and the world was stunned. It sounded impossible, but it was true. Over time, the Christmas Truce became a symbol of hope. It reminded people that even in war, humanity can survive. That ordinary people do not always want the conflicts their leaders create. More than a century later, the story still resonates because wars have not ended. Even today, soldiers stand in trenches in Europe. Families still face Christmas without peace. The Christmas Truce did not happen again because war learned how to prevent it. Commanders tightened control. Technology made killing more distant, and fear replaced familiarity. But that single moment in 1914 remains powerful because it was real. Not planned, not ordered, chosen by soldiers who simply wanted peace for one night. The Christmas Truce of 1914 was not a miracle. It was a choice made by ordinary men who remembered they were human before they were soldiers. It reminds us that peace is always possible, even when the world says it is not. If you believe history should be told honestly, with humanity and depth, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story so it is never forgotten. Because remembering moments like this may be the first step toward creating them again.